Welcome into yet another episode of Fantasy Football Chalk Talk. I'm your host, Troy Lofton, right here with the Bayou Bengal Fantasy Network. Today, we got all types of stuff going on today. We're going to be going over NFL Draft by Bucky Brooks. It's his 4.0 mock draft. I thought it'd be fun to kind of walk through that, talk about it, and see maybe we can find out what kind of fantasy implications we can have based on how many people are going to be falling in certain places. If you guys are here live or if you guys checking this out a little bit later, right before the draft, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to have some fun today. Hopefully, we can go for 30, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour, depending on how long the conversation lasts. But first thing first, we always want to get into the news. We have a pretty big one. I think it'd be kind of not the best thing if we don't talk about this. Let's talk about the first piece of news we have for today. Well, it's got to be Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers going over to the New York Jets. There is tons of things to talk about this. A lot of people are saying that they're really projecting to be maybe like the number one person here to lead the charge to beat the Chiefs. Bud Files, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Hit the like button. I appreciate you. But the New York Jets are now going to be a contender. They finally have it, what they need in place. I'm pretty sure that the defense is solid enough to make it happen. They could probably give Mahomes a little bit of trouble. Now they got all types of weapons all over the field. Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson. Now with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, I think the Jets have they're going to be doing some things. Let's go over the depth chart of what Aaron Rodgers has as of right now. If we kind of look at it, you have Aaron Rodgers, Brees Hall, and Zonovan Knight. Zonovan Knight did a really good job filling in for Brees Hall when he was hurt. But other than that, they didn't really have much. I mean, James Robinson kind of washed up a little bit. Michael Carter kind of washed up a little bit. Brees Hall is the main go-to guy that they have on this Jets offense. At wide receiver, Allen Lazard came over from the Packers. Mecole Hardman came over from the Chiefs. I mean, they're stacked at wide receiver too. Yo, Fantasy Football Almanac, good to see you, man. Appreciate you coming in here, man. I'm very hyped to see the season as well. Aaron Rodgers coming over. He's definitely going to be a contender. Going to be a contender in my book. I know most people's book is going to be a contender, so I'm really excited to see what they do in the draft. Most likely they're probably going offensive line to kind of protect Aaron Rodgers even more. Even though it's kind of funny if they don't pick an offensive weapon. That was his big thing in Green Bay. He was mad because they wasn't picking enough offensive weapons for him. But that's just kind of it is what it is. So, but let's dive into the Bucky Brooks 4.0 mock draft. And just to let you guys know, the Jets, I kind of go over the trade a little bit. Aaron Rodgers, the Jets end up getting Aaron Rodgers, but they also got the first round pick from the Packers. They kind of did a little bit of a shift where the Jets dropped down just a little bit. So they got the 15th pick. They gave the Packers the 13th pick. They also got a 5th round pick, the Jets did. And then the Packers also not only swapped first round picks, but they ended up getting the 2nd round pick, which is 42nd overall. They ended up getting a 6th round pick, 207 overall. And next year they got a 2nd round pick, but as long as Rodgers plays at least 65% of the snaps, which we know he probably will, that's going to turn into a 1st round pick. So they roughly got two 1st round picks, a 2nd round pick, and a 6th round pick for Aaron Rodgers, which I think is a steal. It's an absolute steal for what they got. But let's go ahead and go over the Bucky Brooks mock draft 4.0 as he did. I kind of go through the steps what we see there. So first things first, we're going to talk about Bryce Young. Bryce Young, he's slated to become the Carolina Panthers. Everybody kind of knows this is what it is, and that's where Bucky Brooks has Bryce Young. Bryce Young, kind of a small, he's about 5'10". He's a small guy. He's like one of those Drew Brees type of guys, but he does have some amazing decision making ability. He's very good at the state of Alabama. He did very well, led him all the way to a championship. Very high IQ, good instincts from what I can see at avoiding the pass rush. You see, rushers coming off the edge. He knows how to step up in the pocket and make a good delivery. I think going to the Panthers could be a very, very good thing for him. Let's go over the depth chart, what they have right now. If we slotted Bryce Young in there at quarterback, you can definitely see Miles Sanders, who they got over from the Eagles, and Chuba Hubbard. Really nice combination there. I think Miles Sanders could do some benefits for Bryce Young, especially if Bryce Young is able to come in and kind of be the man of what everybody thinks he can be. And then DJ Chark, Terrace Marshall, and they got Adam Thielen from the Minnesota Vikings. So not the best plethora of wide receiver, but manageable. They can get it done. They also got Hayden Hurst over from the Cincinnati Bengals. So he's got some weapons, but I know hopefully in the draft they're able to maybe add a couple of wide receivers. I think it would be beneficial for him. Again, guys, hit the like button. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. But other than Bryce Young going 101 at the Panthers, we dropped all the way down to the 104. They don't have the Texans actually taking an offensive player like a quarterback. They've got him taking a defensive player. So what he's got dropping all the way to 104. We're going to talk about the Colts, and they're going to be taking CJ Stroud based on this mock draft. I think CJ Stroud, in my opinion, he's probably the most complete quarterback in this draft. He's a 6'3", pocket passer type of quarterback. He did very, very well. He had a plethora of wide receivers at his disposal over the last couple of years, whether it was Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and now you have Jackson Smith and Jigba. He had some nice weapons there. Going to the Colts, probably won't have as nice of weapons, but Michael Pittman Jr., things like that, Alec Pierce. He's going to have some type of weapons to throw to, so it's not too bad. He has an NFL type of caliber arm. He can make pretty much all the throws, whether it's short, intermediate, or long. If we go ahead and look at the depth chart of what he's going to be looking at, we got CJ Stroud planted in at the quarterback. They have nobody else, so I definitely want to make sure that he is the number one quarterback if he goes there. Jonathan Taylor, he should be back from injury, should do well. They got Zach Moss backing him up, but Jonathan Taylor is the go-to bell cow type of guy. Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, as I talked about earlier, and then they got Isaiah McKenzie over from Buffalo. He's kind of that blazing kind of guy. Pretty decent slot receiver for this team. CJ Stroud, you never know. They could end up getting another wide receiver later on in the draft. You just don't know. Mo Alie-Cox, I do like him as tight end, but I do think that he may not be the starter going throughout. Jelani Woods, I believe, should be able to take over him at the tight end position, but we'll kind of see how it goes. Now we're going to be dropping down to the 112 here, and now we have Will Levis going to the Houston Texans. Instead of taking a quarterback at 2, they end up getting their defensive player. And in this mock draft, they actually have Will Levis being taken, which I think that's not too bad. I mean, I don't know if I buy into the hype of everybody else about Will Levis. Yes, he has a big old cannon arm, but what I like to say all the time is, what type of Hall of Fame quarterbacks do you know that has this rocket type of arm? I mean, you have your Brett Favres and whatnot, but you also have your Jamarcus Russells on the other side. So does he have the tools? I mean, his offensive line was absolute trash at the University of Kentucky. He didn't have time to really do anything. How is his decision making going to be in the NFL when it's going to be even worse? He's got to have some short yard accuracy questions for me. I do like his deep ball. I think he's got pretty good touch on that. He pretty much guns everything all the time. He doesn't have really the touch needed as of right now. He could develop into it, but he doesn't really have the touch to make those short and intermediate throws. So he just needs to be in a place where he has some good coaching where he could develop. Houston, I don't know if it's the best place for him because they're more defensive minded with DeMeco Ryans now being the head coach over there. He wants to improve that defense to make them good. There's a lot of rumors out there that the Houston Texans are going to make a defensive player selection at number 2, and at 12, they might end up trading up. They might end up trading down. They want to get some more picks. The Houston Texans, there's a lot of holes to fill. So I don't think it's just going to be, we're going to take these 2 players and let it go. They need to figure out what they want to do for the future. Mills is there at quarterback. He could kind of be a stopback guy. So, maybe for a couple years if they needed to. I don't know if they necessarily need to go up there and get a quarterback as of right now because they have nothing to surround the quarterback with. If we go over the depth chart really for the Houston Texans, Will Levis, if they did take him, he would obviously be the number 1 quarterback. Dameon Pierce and Devin Singletary, nice 1-2 punch at the running back position. Robert Woods, Nico Collins, and Noah Brown. Noah Brown coming over from the Dallas Cowboys. I actually like Noah Brown. I think he's pretty good. And then Dalton Schultz coming over from the Cowboys as well. I think he's got a good safety blanket if that happens. It's setting Will Levis up to succeed to a certain point, but when the defense is so bad, when the offensive playmakers are pretty much for the most part pretty bad, I do like Dalton Schultz, Robert Woods getting long in the tooth. It's just, I don't know, it's not looking good for Will Levis if that's something that, if they end up doing it. I see the Texans trading down, grabbing some more picks. I think they do go defense first round. I don't see them taking a quarterback because I just don't see what's the use of taking a quarterback when you can't win anyway. So get some pieces of there, build your defense up, and then maybe in a year or two, try to get to that number one cornerstone. They have Caleb Williams coming out in the NFL draft next year. If the Texans can just build around their defense, be putrid, they can have the number one overall pick next year. Grab Caleb Williams. Now we're cooking with some gas. That's just my opinion though. But we're gonna go over down to the 113. They have the Packers down here, and we're taking Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid is probably the best sure-handed pass catcher in this entire class. I mean, the way he can catch the ball is absolutely amazing. He's pretty much a mismatch. You put him out in the slot like a Jimmy Graham used to be. The dude's he's gonna be able to burn linebackers, and he's gonna be too big for cornerbacks or for safety. So I think it's good. It's a good safety blanket for Jordan Love. Now that Aaron Rodgers is kind of toast and over there to the Jets, Jordan Love steps in. He needs somebody he can rely on. Yeah, he has the rookie Christian Watson out there. Can he develop into a true number one wide receiver? That's yet to see. But giving him some type of tight end threat like Dalton Kincaid could kind of set Jordan Love up for at least a little bit of success. I do like Dalton Kincaid. He's very quick and he's very explosive for a 6'4" tight end. And that's kind of what I like to see in fantasy football. Grab these tight ends, see what they can do for you. So if we just go over the depth chart of where Dalton Kincaid is going to be, panned out, Jordan Love at quarterback, Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon at running back. I kind of feel bad for Aaron Jones. He's a little bit older, and everybody pretty much left. Let's just face it: the Packers are not competing. They're not going to be competing this year. They're not going to be good. Jordan Love, I just don't like him as a quarterback. I don't know what you guys think, but Christian Watson, Romeo Dubes, and Samori Toure, nothing to write home about. It's not, you look at this wide receiving core, it's like, wow, no wonder why Aaron Rodgers wanted to get up out of there. I mean, there's nobody to really throw the ball to. And Dalton Kincaid would slide right in here as the number one tight end, probably the number one pass catcher or number one offensive threat in general for this team. So the next pick that Bucky Brooks has is down at the 114, probably the best player that I have in this draft, and that's going to be Bijan Robinson going to the New England Patriots. He's one of the best running backs to ever come out of college, man. He's phenomenal on the way that he just can get in and out of his breaks. He's got a great combination of size and speed and determination. He's like one of those quick twitch type of guys, You never know where he's going. He's going to the right, all of a sudden, boom, he's hit to the left. He's phenomenal. And I kind of feel bad if this is going to happen. If we look at the depth chart, Mac Jones as of right now is the quarterback. There are some rumors of them trading Mac Jones to the Houston Texans. Giving them Mac Jones as well, and then the Texans or the Patriots kind of grabbing a quarterback here. We really don't know what's going to happen in that aspect, but I kind of feel bad for Ramondre Stevenson. This guy came in last year. He was actually really, really good. And now if they draft somebody like Bijan Robinson, I just feel super bad for somebody who came in and was doing really, really good. It could be a good 1-2 punch, though. We have to remember Bijan Robinson shared with Roschon Johnson in the University of Texas. He wasn't kind of the bell cow guy, so could Bijan Robinson be a LaDainian Tomlinson type of guy, or is he more of maybe like a Reggie Bush type of guy where he's kind of sharing the load a little bit? Kind of have to wait and see, but I think Bijan Robinson is electric. He deserves to be having the capital that he is. If we look at the wide receiver position, Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker, and Kendrick Bourne, and at tight end, Hunter Henry. So if Bijan Robinson ends up going to the Patriots, I actually do like this for the Patriots. That's if they're going to stick with Mac Jones, because Mac Jones, it's kind of a wait and see type of approach. Is he really good or is he not really good? He was kind of hyped to be in the next Tom Brady, and I don't think that panned out very well for them. So let's move right on. At the 121, they have the Chargers taking Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer, another good big body type of tight end. He's actually the best pass blocker of all the tight ends in this class, in my opinion. He's really good at the point of attack. I mean, he can make it happen. And when you're a good pass blocker as a rookie tight end, it gives you more opportunities on the field to kind of show what you can do. He has soft hands for a big-bodied tight end. He's got really, really good balance, and he's got good burst right off the snap. So he's somebody that can probably take, if you need a first down, 2 or 3 yards, Michael Mayer's a big dude. He could probably get that for you. Let's go over the depth chart a little bit of what the Chargers could do if they had Michael Mayer. I don't have him here in the starting lineup because I think that Gerald Everett is good enough to fight off a rookie. But it would be, if they did this, it would probably be Gerald Everett's last kind of his last hurrah, and they would probably go on from Everett and end up being with Mayer. But with Herbert, Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Joshua Palmer, and Gerald Everett, they've got a good offense. But they know they do need a tight end. I think they was probably going to be wanting Bijan, but in this draft, Bijan did not fall to them, so it would just kind of be to the point to where, hey, we got to take the next best player available, and that's going to be Michael Mayer. So I think Michael Mayer is pretty good. If you're playing a dynasty, I think he would be a good pick later on in the draft. Redraft league, if he went to the Chargers, I don't know if I would definitely be excited for that. Derek's Journey, how you doing? I appreciate you being here, my friend. Hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for showing up for this live stream. My really first fantasy football live stream. I'm excited to talk football and to have friends stop in and every once in a while saying hi. I really do appreciate that. But we're moving on to the 122 pick, and we're going with the Ravens taking Anthony Richardson. This guy is an absolute specimen, born in a lab. He's a freak athlete with a lot of raw potential. This guy, he's got everything. I mean, he's very, very fast. He's got a nice arm. He's got the elite running capability, and I'm telling you, in fantasy football, you want a quarterback that can be mobile. He could be a fantasy football stud, or he could just be another flop, because he struggles at times to read a lot of defenses. Sometimes I'm watching film and I'm seeing this guy, he actually didn't play a lot in Florida, but the times that I watch him, his decision making, I mean, he needs better deep ball accuracy. He's pretty good on the short and the intermediate, but when he's throwing the ball down the field, I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Who do you got going first overall? I think Bryce Young is going to be first overall. If you go back to the beginning of the stream we had in this mock draft, we do have Bryce Young going number 1 overall. I think he's just the best player on the board right now, and I think Carolina is really wanting Bryce Young to be the man and be the quarterback. So I do have Bryce Young going there. If I was the Panthers at number 1 overall, I think CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in the draft. I think he's the most complete quarterback in the draft, but Bryce Young right now is slotted, probably mocked to be the number 1 guy overall. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But back on to Anthony Richardson. Let's go over the depth chart here for Baltimore. Obviously, if they take the quarterback in Anthony Richardson, they're pretty much banking on Lamar Jackson being a one and done type of guy. Either they trade Lamar Jackson during the draft, or they don't sign him to a long-term contract. Anthony Richardson stays behind Lamar Jackson, learns, ends up stepping in. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards at running back. I think that's nice. They just acquired Odell Beckham Jr., Rashad Bateman, and Nelson Aguilar as their receivers, and Mark Andrews definitely as the tight end. Definitely have to check out the beginning. Yeah, check out the beginning of the video. We went over some stuff. We've been streaming for about 20 minutes now, so it's not too bad, Derek. But I appreciate you being here, buddy. We still got a little ways to go though. Let's go over to the 123. We got the Vikings taking Jackson Smith and Jigba. Yo, Liz B Journey, how are you doing? Thank you so much. Hit the like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys for showing up for the live stream. It helps out a ton. So thank you guys so much. But the Vikings, I really like this pick. Them taking Jackson Smith and Jigba. They lost Adam Thielen. They need somebody on the opposite side of Justin Jefferson. I think this guy is going to be an absolute stud. He likes kind of playing from the slot. He's a very polished route runner. Already done and shared. Thank you so much, Liz Journey. Thank you so much. He's mainly a slot receiver, so he's not really going to be this big time outside guy, but I think he is a absolute tactician in the slot. If we got to remember, he played with Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave just 2 years ago, and he was actually the best wide receiver on the field week in and week out. So we know that Jackson Smith and Jigba can be the guy. He could be somebody that can be dependable, and if he plays for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins is going to have yet another weapon to throw to. It's going to be exciting. If we look at the depth chart here, we got Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, and Alexander Mattison. There are rumors that Dalvin Cook could either be cut or could be traded during the draft. We have to wait and see during that tomorrow, see how that goes. But he would slot right in at the wide receiver number 2. Right behind Justin Jefferson. I think the Vikings it'd be another potent offense type of thing, especially with TJ Hawkinson at tight end that acquired him from the Lions. So I think that would be pretty good if you ask me. JJ and JSN would be unfair. I would love to see it. Yeah, Jefferson and Jackson Smith and Jigba together. Jeez, that would be something that they'd be one of the most potent offenses in the league for sure. Because you got to add TJ Hawkinson in there as well. TJ Hawkinson ain't no joke. He can get it done, So I would love to see Jackson Smith and Jigba land with the Vikings. I think it's a good fit. I think they need a good slot wide receiver. I think you can even stack Justin Jefferson and Jack Smith and Jigba on the same side of the field, and then the defense has to make a decision. Who am I gonna take over for? Who am I gonna look at? So I do like that. Let's move on along to the 125. We have the New York Giants actually taking Zay Flowers here. Zay Flowers, he's a very kind of explosive 5'9" wide receiver. He ran a 4.42 at the combine, so he's got the speed. I don't think it's going to transition much in the NFL. He played a lot of outside wide receiver. Normally, for a 5'9" wide receiver, you don't really see them playing on the outside. You normally see them playing in the slot. But we have to see kind of where he goes, because he is like a yards after catch type of wide receiver. He can catch the ball and make something happen. Derek's Journey says, Kirk Cousins would have no excuse on offense. That's for sure. I definitely agree with that. Kirk Cousins, there is no excuse if you got JSN and you got Jefferson. And I like KJ Osborne. I think KJ Osborne's a good third wide receiver there as well. I mean, he'd have the weapons, and then TJ Hawkinson to cap that off. I don't think you can go wrong with that. Let's look at the depth chart. If Zay Flowers ended up going to the Giants, this is kind of how I have it. It'd be Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, and Matt Breida at the running back position. I think Zay Flowers would actually be the number one wide receiver. Wan'Dale Robinson is a smaller wide receiver, just like Zay Flowers is. Although Zay Flowers, he has the experience of playing on the outside. So I think Zay Flowers would go into that role. Isaiah Hodgins is a bigger wide receiver, so maybe he could take the number one wide receiver role. But it would kind of be between Isaiah Hodgins and Zay Flowers, with Wan'Dale Robinson being more in the slot. But we'd kind of have to wait and see. I think the Giants need a little bit more help on offense. They need to get another wide receiver. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the Giants took two wide receivers during this draft just to try to get better. They need to have some more playmakers on this field, not just Saquon Barkley. I don't think Daniel Jones is the type of quarterback to be able to carry an offense. So I don't know. It's the way I kind of see it. Let's move along. We have the last person we're going to talk about actually in this mock draft right now. I'm going to go to the 127 with the Bills taking Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison, a lot of people consider him to be the best wide receiver in this entire class. He kind of dropped a little bit in this mock draft. He's okay. I don't preferably like wide receivers from USC. They just don't have a good history of it in the past. He's really a smooth type of route runner. I mean, I see him, he's just going in and out of breaks. He's able to find that open hole in the defense, sit down, and get a nice catch. He's got elite hands, and he's an elite tactician. I just don't like the school that he comes from. They just don't have a good history of producing NFL caliber wide receivers. So, but if you did go to the Bills, just kind of look at the depth chart here. Josh Allen, of course, James Cook, and Damien Harris. There's a lot of people that's mocking Bijan Robinson to fall all the way down here to number 27, and for the Bills to grab Bijan Robinson, which, if Bijan Robinson, let's just face it, if he went to the Bills, it would completely destroy James Cook and Damien Harris fantasy value 100%. But in this mock draft, we do have Jordan Addison going. I don't think he passes up Gabe Davis for the number 2 wide receiver, but he would be that number 3 wide receiver with Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and Jordan Addison, and then Dawson Knox at tight end. So other than that, what we'll do is let's go ahead and talk about some fantasy implications. Okay. I take a little drink there. Fantasy implications. Let's talk about what are fantasy implications in the draft. So I want to explain to anybody who may be new to fantasy football, somebody that may be trying to get into the dynasty space or the redraft space, and they have questions about why should I watch the NFL draft past the first round? What's the need of any type of draft picks? Is a 6th round pick important? So let's talk about it. The first 3 rounds of an NFL draft, those guys are the ones that you're really looking to make an immediate impact on a roster, on your roster, especially if you're a dynasty. So if somebody's the first 3 rounds, I consider them as high draft capital. So if you have, let's just say, since I just talking about it, on the Buffalo Bills, you've got James Cook and you've got the newly acquired Damien Harris. If they take a 1st round running back in Bijan Robinson, if you have James Cook or if you have Damien Harrison on your dynasty roster, you could pretty much kiss that value goodbye because Bijan Robinson is the number one bona fide guy there. James Cook's still working on his rookie deal. Damian Harris is not even going to get an opportunity to show what he can do in the Bills offense because Bijan Robinson is going to be the main go-to guy. Yeah, they're going to get their carries, but their trade value just went through the bucket as well. If you add a player early in the draft, just a different certain position that rounds 1, round 2, and round 3, that just speaks danger, right? It just says there's a probability that your guy isn't going to pan out and be a fantasy superstar, because if they were that good, or if the team really believed in him, they probably wouldn't be taking a number one type of guy in the first round or second round or third round, you know. But on the flip side, look at the draft capital, right? If they end up having James Cook and Damian Harris, and the Bills end up taking a 6th round running back, well, James Cook is still valued enough. They didn't feel like they were hurting enough to where they needed to take a running back earlier in the draft, so you should be good. So you need to have a look at the depth charts, see how everything goes, and then where they're going to take. Why are they drafting? Are they drafting because it's a position of need? Or are they drafting because they just want to add depth to that chart? So it's a little bit different. Couldn't have said it better for myself. Draft capital is so important. It's very important, man. Especially in the dynasty aspect. I play both redraft leagues and I play dynasty leagues. And in dynasty leagues, you have to be able to look at draft capital and see opportunity, right? So if there's a big opportunity plus a high draft capital, that equals fantasy success. But I think that you need both, right? You need both for fantasy success. So if you have high draft capital but you don't have the opportunity, that could be bad. If you have low draft capital but a lot of opportunity, that could be a lot better than high draft capital and no opportunity. So you really just you gotta be fluid. You gotta be like water and see how everything goes. Just look at those depth charts and see if you can match up a high draft capital and if you can match up a lot of opportunities. Because in fantasy football, you don't get points for sitting on the bench. You get points for being out there and to kind of make, you need to make some plays. You need to have the ball in your hand and make some points. So ask yourself, is there an older running back or a running back that's on the last year of his contract? So let's say if Bijan Robinson went to the Chargers, right? Austin Eckler, he's probably going to be there for another year. Bijan Robinson would have high draft capital, and I would still consider him to have high opportunities because Austin Eckler is going to be gone. He's going to be gone next year. Whether or not they trade him or whether they cut him, Austin Eckler's already asked for a trade. They're not going to trade him right now. Bijan Robinson can kind of learn, and in year 2, you could see him really flourish. Year 1, he just got to learn a little bit. You got to eat those bullets whenever you're in the dynasty draft like that. So you kind of just look at things like that. You want to look for the high draft capital. You want to look for the opportunities, and that really could be the saving grace for everybody. So, but with that said, too, I want to kind of shift over to the last scene here, and it's going to be just if you guys want to subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate it. Really helps out. We're going to be doing live streams mostly on Wednesdays. We'll probably do some live streams, talk about some fantasy football. We're going to be teaching you guys week in and week out who to start, who to sit, players you can add on the waiver wire, all types of stuff. Guys, I did a nice little 30-minute stream today. I just wanted to talk about the NFL draft. I'm super excited for it. But other than that, I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. Thank you guys so much for coming out for the live stream. We'll see you guys next time.
Tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake